Hello and welcome to this very special episode of the Anywhere But Here podcast, episode 326. My name is Tom.
And my name's Ant.
And
that
the reason,
weird.
isn't it? It's slightly different this time round because it's the final episode of the Anywhere But Here podcast.
Yeah.
You can find us on abhpod.com where you can still, we're going to, should we stick that Amazon basket thing in there anymore? I don't know.
Yeah.
You can still go through there, I guess. I don't know where the payment will end up, but don't bother with with Amazon anymore.
Yeah.
You can find us on social media still. Facebook, Anywhere But Here, ABH Pod. On Twitter at ABH Pod. And you can watch the videos, even from episode 1. It's the only place you can find the first couple of the first 100 or so episodes. If you go to youtube.com/ABH Podcast.
Yes. There is also a Patreon banner on our website, but don't bother with that either.
Yeah, we're going to
we'll just cancel your subscription. We kind of talk about all of this at the start of the episode, but yeah, we're putting it up front. Like, if you're expecting the normal intro, it's not here. If you're a patron, you're not hearing this because you got the special episode without the intro.
Exactly.
It's one of the benefits they had. What do we do with this?
It's
the website. So let's just. I know we talk about it in the episode, but for the people on the intro, the website will remain up until January next year. So you can catch all of the episodes there if you want to go back and be a completionist. We will be migrating them over to another service. So feed will point to a different service. So they're going to be there. We might even look at trying to get from episode 1, if that's possible. It might take a while to do that, but either way, we're still going to be around. You can still talk to us.
Yeah.
Don't panic. But yeah, don't worry about supporting us anymore.
Yeah.
You've done your bit.
We'll
we couldn't ask for any more.
Exactly. Yeah. We've been massively appreciative to everyone who's ever listened, ever donated any money, ever supported us in a financial way. I mean, that's incredible. And we'll do more of that on the Patreon, I think, because they're the ones that really did support us financially. But we talk about the reasons why and all that. We also we kind of have a regular episode anyway. It's been months since we did one of these. In fact,
you know what? I enjoyed it so much. Should we just cancel it? We'll just carry on. Yeah. No,
shall we?
Yeah.
And this is the thing. Like, we haven't fallen out. There's no bad blood. It's by mutual kind of agreement.
And I think that's why there's no bad blood, because we approached it at the right point.
Absolutely.
Didn't want to end up resenting each other for holding each other to this. But yeah, we like Tom says, we have a normal episode. We haven't talked on the podcast since the start of May, so there's a lot of shit we had to talk about. We spoil the fuck out of a lot of things, programs and films, because fuck it. Who are you going to complain to? We ain't here anymore. We won't be apologising.
Oh man, it's been an absolute blast, and I hope that you enjoy this final episode. Please do continue to talk to us on social media. We will keep the accounts open, and I think, as Ant says at the end, most of you who listen have got our phone numbers anyway. So we'll be talking to you on WhatsApp and what have you anyway. So
enjoy.
So this is the first time we've done one of these since the beginning of May.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, isn't it?
Which seems bizarre. Obviously, we've seen each other a few times since then, so it doesn't feel like that long for us.
No, like when you came on and you were like, 3 months. I was like, no, really? And then sort of thinking about it, it's like, yeah, it has been 3 months since we have sat down and recorded something together. But we have talked, we have played, we see each other outside of the podcast. Sorry to sort of break that news to you people this late in the day. But I suppose more so now than we used to. Like in the past, it was pretty much the podcast was when we saw each other.
Well, that's it, yeah.
But obviously now we're like High Frequency are up and running again. We've got that. It's a bit weird when you said that because it didn't feel right, but actually it is. Which I suppose for other people who sort of I'm trying to think, other podcasters who do sort of see their friends like regularly, like on a weekly, maybe daily or something basis. It's quite normal. But yeah, it's not, haven't sat down since the start of May to record together. In fact, I haven't recorded a podcast as such since when I recorded with Eric the other week. Yeah, I mean, I sat and I did the video on my phone for like and stuck that out for the patrons. So that was a little thing which I enjoyed doing. It was weird. I don't know. I always wanted to try vlogging years ago. I don't know if you remember
that's
that.
It. Yeah.
I did it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
But it's to your love of vlogging.
I don't really watch vlogs anymore, ironically. But it's one of those things. As I enjoyed doing it that once. If I did it all the time, I'd have nothing to talk about. You know,
this is it. I don't understand those people who do like one a day for
daily
years
vlogs.
And years.
Yeah. So I have to find things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to struggle with just doing the ABCs of ABH.
Exactly.
Have to find one topic to talk about every week.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, we probably mentioned it in the intro. And actually, the fact that we haven't done one of these in 3 months kind of speaks to how life is at the moment.
It's quite telling, isn't it?
And and I mean that's the longest we've gone without doing one of these with both of us on it for the whole time we've been doing this for like 9.5 years.
Just short of 10 years.
Just short of 10 years, and we're breaking the band up.
That's it. It's
before our massive money spinning decade
10-year anniversary.
Which is on brand.
It's really on brand. Yeah, it is us. So it can't quite reach 10 years, but it's difficult. And I think I'm trying to remember if I did now, like a few months ago on the podcast, I actually have talked about how I do kind of take on too much. I don't know. I'm sure I did mention it once, and Liz sort of pointed it out to me.
Yeah,
that I take on too much. I think at the time it was like the podcast, I was climbing, I was studying, I was doing this, I was doing that. I was sort of doing things, and then the climbing that's when I started going to the gym as well. And then the climbing sort of went by the wayside, and and it's still too much.
Yeah,
I think it's still too much. So something else has to go, and it is unfortunate. It's this thing that we both loved for years, but
I mean, we've both kind of said it as such. I mean, really, I only broached the subject with you last night. But, it's something that I think both of us have been thinking about for a while. And it's just one of those things where I don't know whether it's become routine and like the shine's worn off it. There was a point where like we were actually putting some effort into the content quite early on, and that went out the window after a couple of years, I would say. And then it's just kind of, I don't know, like
it's tricky. It's something. It's really funny because if you do listen to the one, I'm sure I mentioned it on the episode as well. If you listen to the one I just recorded with Eric, I did say about how it's, when we had bits that we did, it seemed to be more engagement and people enjoyed it more. And then that kind of stopped. But then it's sort of like, it was just a way for us to sort of keep talking.
I mean, this is one of the things, like the reason that the podcast kind of came about is because the band wasn't doing anything anymore, but you and I wanted to do something creative.
Yeah.
And we both got into podcasts in the meantime.
Yeah.
And we were like, well, why not just let's do that? It might be fun, and it really was and is.
Yeah.
But there's something, I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it. Both of us are like, well, we don't get excited to do it on a every other Sunday now. And it's just almost like, I don't want to go through the motions really, but also we see each other outside of this now. We've got our creative endeavor back, and I've always found music more exciting anyway.
Oh, for sure, definitely for sure, because this is a conversation. Love. This is a conversation, and this is something you can do as and when. Some of the the podcasts that do the best are the ones where there are bits, there are specific goals, there are subjects. That you know what I mean. Like Band Biography is doing really well. It has a focus. It has a goal. It's a specific thing. Like the All Seeing Guys, although it is two guys chatting, they have bits they do.
Yeah.
They have segments and things like that. So it's more creative. Whereas obviously we do the music and it's a much more collaborative thing. Whereas if we all make a specific noise at the same time, it sounds magical. Do you know what I mean? Like it's way more rewarding. This for me and you is a conversation, and perhaps it is the fact we've got the band together again and we're having conversations outside of the podcast. The podcast was our conversations. That was where we caught up with each other, and that's why we looked forward to it. Whereas the band is now we're getting together, we're having conversations. Well, I talk to Tom. I don't need the podcast to talk to Tom, so I'm not as excited about it as I was. And
but I think as well, something that you mentioned to me last night was I'm going to get it up because I don't want to paraphrase.
You're going to get it up.
Yeah.
You were that excited.
I mean, it was that excited. Yeah. You said I think being held to a schedule for our conversations could have a negative impact on our friendship.
For sure.
If we aren't enjoying it as much. And actually, like as you were saying, the point of this was that we weren't seeing each other anymore, and it was nice to kind of do something creative, but also like what then turned into like was our weekly or fortnightly kind of catch up as to what we were doing in our lives and stuff. And it's a document really of the jobs that we've had, the things that we're into. It'll be interesting to look back and go back on YouTube, because YouTube is the only thing that has the original like first 100 or so episodes, which were the first 2 years basically, because unfortunately our website was destroyed by someone not upkeeping their end of the security, and we lost all those files, which is a massive shame.
It was one of those, I suppose, an oversight on my part that once everything was uploaded to the website, I got rid of it on my computer because it's stored forever on the internet.
Yeah.
And then we lost those. So those first few sort of disappeared, unfortunately.
I suppose you could always download the audio off.
You can download the audio off of YouTube, but in order to store it, we'd have to pay money, and if we're stopping this and stopping Patreon, we're not going to have money to pay for it. So
I think YouTube. We're going to possibly migrate all the podcast episodes over onto Anchor or something.
We could do that actually,
which is what I did with the Tom and Joe show and Ship Tie and Transit. They live on Anchor.
It's Anchor. So for the free account, there's an upload limit, isn't there? So we wouldn't be able to upload them all in one go. So we'd have to be. But we could definitely do that. Just for the audio side, just to keep a feed out there, and we could point iTunes at that feed, so the feed stays up. Well, I'm looking to doing that actually. That's a good idea, just for the audio. But it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah, and then there's stuff out there for people to go and listen to if they want.
We'll definitely look into the Patreon side of it as well, because that's difficult, is because it's behind a paywall. So if we then cancel everyone's subscriptions in a month's time, they're going to lose access to that content as well.
That's true. Yeah.
But then I don't then want to put all of that stuff out on a free feed, because people have paid for that extra stuff. Yeah. If you get me. So it's sort of, I'm going to have to look at a way to do that, because obviously Patreon's not going to keep it there. Once we've cancelled everyone's subscription, the content is going to be there. Like, we'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
But then nobody else will. Yeah. So I need to look into how we can deal with that side of it. If people want it, that's the thing. They've listened to it. Do they really want to keep it?
This is it, isn't it? Because like you say, it's conversations between the two of us, which some people find interesting, and that's bizarre. Always kind of boggled my mind, really. But yeah, like you say, it's interesting that we're now in WhatsApp groups with those people that we used to talk to on Twitter or Facebook or whatever about the podcast, and we're much more kind of in people's lives a little bit more.
We are
in that way.
Friends. We're friends with them. Like, they're not just people we know because they have podcasts. I mean, we met them through podcasting, but. And as much as the Pod Pals was a great thing, it's not really the Pod Pals community anymore. It's just a group of group of friends. I know, like you and Joe obviously went did a bit of a trip recently, and you went and met up with Ben anyway, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think I said Yorkshire and I meant Middlesbrough, so I apologise.
It was it was we were in Whitby.
Yeah. Whitby.
And
how can you say it without a bloody northern accent?
But because Sham 69 was supposed to be playing up there that weekend, and then they weren't. The gig got cancelled, but Joe and I decided that we had our booking anyway, and we were like, well, actually, we'll be able to spend more time with each other, and have a proper weekend of it, which was really nice. And then let Ben know, and then him and Liz came down, and we had a nice evening with them. And that was really nice. And this is one of the contributing factors, is like in another couple of months' time, I would not be available again. For a month and a half. So that's another 3 episodes. That it's going to get more like that. And the more the world opens up, and the longer I'm in this band.
And I think one of the other things about it is as well is that because you have got this thing you're doing that actually earns you actual money, and you go out and make music, which is, like you say, it's actually your preferred creative outlet. But then there's that side of it as well where it's like you're away for a month and a half, so then I would have to cover it, and evidence from the last month that I had to cover didn't go so well. But then in me not releasing it, it's kind of like, and I know you'd be like, well, what the fuck, it's just arrange it and do it. And it's like, do you know what I mean? And I know that. So I feel shit for not doing it. And I know you're kind of, well, for fuck's sake. And it's like, again, it's that thing, because we're sort of beholden to this podcast, and it's a creative thing. It's our creative thing. And me not holding up my end sort of like affects your thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it's
it's just like, for me, I was like, okay, well, clearly he's not that into doing it as well. So this is why I kind of broached the subject to you the other night.
It's because I'm just shit at arranging things as well. I don't like I'm so socially awkward in a way that I don't like asking people to give up their time to do stuff for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas I know people are probably like, yeah, I'll go do it. Like when I said it to Eric, I said, I don't know, do you want to be on the podcast? He's like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Can't promise I'll be in again. I'm like, oh, that was easy. Okay. So
I mean, I've got this with obviously the other podcast as well, like approaching people who are in some way, shape or form famous. And largely when I get round to it after about 6 beers, because
after a bit of Dutch courage,
I draft out a message when I'm in my clear head. And then I have to wait until I've had a few beers to kind of build up the courage to send it out. And then I instantly put my phone on silent and throw it away. Like, I don't want to look at it. But they all come back and they're like, either like interested but not right now because I'm on tour or whatever. Or like I messaged a comedian recently, a guy called Rich Wilson. Who does a podcast about mental health, and he's always on about how much he loves The Damned, and like his son's a drummer in a band and stuff like this, and like, but obviously talking to comedians, not a lot of them are that into music. And so I kind of was like, oh, he sounds like he wants to talk about music. I should probably just like send him a line, because he also is talking about the whole imposter syndrome thing, and he's like, I'm rubbish at asking people to come on my own podcast, even though I know they'll want to say yes. I put all this in a in a message to him. I know that you also have a hard time asking people, and I feel like really stupid asking you to come on my, like, I don't know why you would ever say yes, but I listen to your shows and you talk about music a lot, and you don't seem to get to talk about it with people. So do you want to come on my podcast and talk about music? And he within a day, sent me a message back being like, "I'd be delighted. Here's my WhatsApp. Let's take it over there." So
just here's my personal number.
Yeah. Ironically, he's like, as soon as like we started talking about stuff, he's like, "Oh, but I've got the Edinburgh Fringe." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
well,
maybe not."
Yeah, that's quite an important date that comes up, isn't it? Yeah, I think I have seen some of his stuff actually. The other reason Rich will. Oh look, there's a picture of him with Richard Herring.
Yes, he'll have been on. Yeah. Degrees of separation.
That's it. But yeah, the other reason his name pinged in my memory when you said Rich Wilson is Richard Wilson, who came up in our Pod Pals WhatsApp group the other
day. Yeah, one of the members has crossed the Richard Wilson line, which is the age Richard Wilson was when he first started playing Victor Meldrew.
The grumpy old man from 1 Foot in the Grave.
One Foot in the Grave.
Oh, we love you, Scott.
But yeah, and it's like work has got a lot more busy recently. There's a few people who I know outside of work who've wanted me to start doing editing jobs for them as well. Some for pay, some for not, maybe straight away.
Some for payment in kind.
Yeah, a little hand shandy.
Rules of the road.
Yeah, that's it. So
yeah,
I don't know whether it's also the summer holiday and like the last few weeks as well, but also we are we've turned into a babysitting service for essentially what is my granddaughter. When you think about it that way, I mean, fucking hell, makes me sound really old. It's age differences and all that kind of thing taken into account. But so like, for the last few weeks, and she's a 1-year-old ball of energy who just like is pinging around all over the place, but doesn't sit still. And but
at the same time, preferable to sitting down and talking on a microphone, like.
Well, not even that, but like during the week, for example, like I have to not do work because I can't.
Yeah.
So I
you
then
have to work in the evening.
In the evening or on the weekend. So like it's pushing around when I'm working. Luckily, Joe has had marking to do. So while I am working, she has been marking. Although today the marking has finished. Like there are no more scripts left in the system.
She's done.
Which
fantastic.
And it's dragged on a lot this term. She's normally done by the end of July, or the beginning of July. So it's kind of been lucky that there's been a lot of work for her to do at the same time, because otherwise, like, it would have been quite difficult.
I suppose the dragging on I think it was when the marking had just started when we played Poco last time. We sat and had a chat to Jo about the marking. She said, like, even before the marking had started, I think like 2 people had quit.
Yeah.
And then like 2 or 3 other people hadn't even read the email, so hadn't set up their accounts to do the marking. So that probably pushed it back quite a bit.
Someone was trying to get on using Mac, even though it specifically states in the AQA software is not supported by Macs.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
And I imagine generally they have a few people drop off throughout the marking anyway every year.
I think she started off with a team of 9 or 10 and ended up with 1 of those.
Wow.
They moved over markers from the language paper over to the literature paper after the language paper had been finished. And they weren't really up to speed either.
No, because it's different criteria, and they have to sort of learn the criteria. So they slow starting, and then I suppose by the time they've actually got up to speed, well, it's finished now. So
but even most of those weren't like. It seems like the last 2 years of not having exams, as people have kind of switched off, and
they've forgotten how to do it.
If they're finding something hard, they just give up rather than ask for help. I guess I don't know.
It's the curse of the blessing of COVID that is also a curse, because it's like. The blessing of COVID is you realize some things just aren't worth the effort. But the curse is a lot more people are quitting shit they don't want to do.
Yeah,
at the drop of a hat.
Like I think
podcasts.
But I think it's been a massive fuck up. But
yeah,
Jo, being the person she is, has made an absolute fucking fortune off it this year.
Oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Why not? Why the fuck not, mate?
Because they were chucking incentives out every few weeks.
Because if you do this many, you can get this much, and she's like, fine, I shall work 20 hours today.
Pretty much. But now it's finished. So she does it like she was like, I'm going to do 50 while you're on the podcast today. Wow. And then this morning, like I came down to get ready, and she's like, there are none in the system. I don't know what to do.
Somebody else did them. Yeah. And took my bonus. But but at the same time, it's like she was prepared to do it. So now she's going to at loose end, but also, oh shit, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, massively relieved. Like,
it's because I was planning to do that, I have nothing else planned, so I can just fucking relax.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Well, this is it. And she can have the next 3 weeks to kind of actually have a holiday.
Yeah.
Which teachers are entitled to because they can't take holidays at any other time of the year.
They fucking do though. Some of them. I don't remember my daughters did.
Yeah.
No, they do.
So I mean, that's been kind of lucky, but like, had there not been all that extra work for her, then I'm sure she'd have been like, oh, do you have to be doing all the work that you're doing at the moment? And it's like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
yes, I do.
Yeah, because if I don't work, I don't get paid by anyone.
But yeah, it's. I mean, yes. I mean, like you say, you've got all that's been happening. So the last thing, like, lots of stuff going on. So podcast probably not top of the priority list.
Yeah, and
specifically this one, because it is the loose conversation. It's not something that you're planning putting loads of work into. But
it's one of the only things I do that doesn't make me a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Like band biographies doesn't either, but
that's a passion project and it has the potential to. Whereas this, it doesn't make
it washes
money.
Its face. It washes its face.
It makes enough that we can keep it going, but it doesn't make enough that we can justify it, I suppose.
And it's magic that this makes enough to keep itself going.
Oh, for sure.
I find that amazing. And I'm massively appreciative of the people who do who are in the Patreon.
Yeah, you guys support us, and I think I think pretty much all of them, or a majority of them, have been there since like almost day one, like especially year one, like those guys. And they've definitely kept it going for us. I think if we didn't have that, we probably would have dropped a while ago.
I think
I don't think I could afford the hosting.
No,
I couldn't justify it. Justify paying it out, and and at the same time, like with you having all your stuff, like I will be starting studying again in September. So in fact, it's quite nice not to have this.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's most of Sunday morning and a bit of the afternoon as well, in which you can do other things. You know what I mean? Like, it frees you up to do that. Because what will happen is September rolls around, you'll start studying. October, November rolls around, I'm on tour. Yeah, like it's it's coming to a point at which, like, and I think the last month or two proved it. In that, like, both our lives are not like this is
resenting it. Like, that's the thing.
Exactly. And we don't want to do that.
At the minute, we enjoy talking to each other. We don't look forward to recording anymore, but we just enjoy talking to each other.
Absolutely.
We will end up resenting it. And we at Poco Loco, like, the reason we were talking to Joe about exams is because of the decision we made in our lives regarding Chloe.
Of course.
We're going to have that. So we're going to have that on top of me studying. We're going to have that we have to try and sort of work our way around. So the Sunday is sort of perfect for, having a Sunday morning free. And I guess it's every 2 weeks, but it still helps, like, massively. Yeah,
it's hours, isn't it? And I think like I know my life revolves around increments of time now because I don't have a steady job. I'm doing bits and bobs. So like my whole thing is like, right, okay, well, if I free up 3 hours of time that I'm doing this normally, that's 3 hours of time I could be using for, say, band biographies, sorting out interviews or doing editing or doing scripting or doing whatever that I'm not doing during the week when I should be working and making money.
Or that I'm not doing during the week
or
evenings when I could actually be spending time with Joe.
That. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's quite nice as well, because I know it's difficult for Liz and Chloe because of the way our house works. And I suppose yours as well, because you're in the kitchen. I'm adjacent to the kitchen, but we're an open plan sort of dining living area. So like Liz and Chloe will sit on the sofa. Like I can see Liz sat on the sofa. She can't watch TV because that makes noise and it might interfere. Although we've said that's fine. It's quiet.
Well,
she has subtitles anyway on.
It's back to the old days, isn't it? Where we used to like either I would come to yours or you would come to mine and sit in our dining rooms or kitchens, and everyone would have to be quiet around us, which always felt like a little bit awkward because it's not fair. And then that's why the pod was built. But then since Zoom came around, it's like, well, this is so much easier. Like you don't have to, neither of us have to travel.
Yeah.
Especially with the price of petrol going up and everything. I mean, can you imagine?
It's coming back down now.
It is.
At the minute. Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. But also, I think the point I was going to make about 15 minutes ago, probably, when I was saying about like the fact that we talk outside of here.
Yeah.
It's also, I feel like, and I certainly know I do, but I feel that we both kind of hold things back as well, because we don't want to talk about them outside of the podcast because we want to talk them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But actually, like, why?
Mate, there's so much shit I've watched in the last like 3 months that we've not talked about. And
I know.
I can't,
Yeah. Because, and that's stupid.
Do you know what makes me sad is we can't do a Thor Love and Thunder spoiler cast.
Have you not done it?
I've seen it.
Oh,
but, right. What's the point? Like,
yeah, I suppose. Well, let's just do it here. Fuck it.
That was definitely a film with two films. I don't know if you felt it was like two very different films sort of mashed together.
I mean, it's very, very much a kid's film, wasn't it?
The first half, definitely. The second half was kind of cool. I kind of liked the second half. The first
I really enjoyed the film. Like I thought it was much of the same. It was like Ragnarok 2, basically. Like it's Taika Waititi doing.
It's definitely
Thor
Taika Waititi
again.
Because it's like, hey, if you found this joke funny the first time, let's just smash it into you until it's no longer funny.
Screaming goats.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an internet meme back in 20. That was an internet meme back when we started this podcast. Like that's out of date. However, I love
Screaming Goats. I love Screaming Goats. I think it's one of the funniest things on the internet. Liz laughed hysterically every time they came on the screen. I laughed the first 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, I get it.
Right. Okay. Screaming Goats again. Cool.
Yeah. And it's like we said about Ragnarok, the opening of Ragnarok when he's on the chain and he's spinning. That was funny. Like when he spun around once, when he spun around twice.
We did have that conversation.
Spinning around, and I was like, okay, I've got it.
Yeah. You don't have to labour the point.
But the Screaming Goats, it wasn't one of those things that sometimes a joke is really funny. And then it's less funny, then it's less funny, and it stops being funny, and they keep doing it, and then it becomes hilarious again because they kept doing it. This didn't for me.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
They really annoyed me, the Screaming Goats.
Yeah.
Generally, like, the film on the whole was good. I enjoyed it.
I thought Christian Bale was excellent.
Christian Bale was incredible. One of the best.
And he really he was quite scary, I thought, like especially when he appears in the cage thing with all the kids and threatens them.
I guess that's what I meant about it being a very two different films, because it's really like Ragnarok, but then you've got like the Christian Bale terrifying, but then you've got the Jane Foster cancer story, which is really quite moving, and like her relationship with Thor, but then you've got this Screaming Goats.
Yeah, it's kind of
the Zeus part, which I kind of liked, the Zeus part.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's I mean, we've not talked really about Ms. Marvel either. We kind of touched on it, and like I thought it was really good when the first few episodes were brilliant, and then I think it massively dropped the ball. I wasn't a fan of the last couple of episodes. I didn't really go much on Moon Knight either, and I really do think that it's like, I don't know whether I'm into what they're doing at the moment.
It's interesting because Liz sort of dropped off of Miss Marvel and stopped enjoying it. I think I maybe I stuck with it more because the Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel thing. I do like that. I kind of like how it embraced. Excuse me. I kind of like how it embraced sort of like the Indian culture and like within America, and then how it dealt with the
partition.
I wanted to say separation. I knew it was as the synonym. But how it dealt with partition, I really liked how they sort of because it's in education, because I don't think a lot of people know about partition. I know about it because I think when I worked at the factory, there were a lot of Indian employees, and there were some Pakistani as well. And then I think somebody mentioned it to me, so I went and looked it up. So I sort of knew about partition and the horrors of partition, which they didn't show in Miss Marvel because it was a kids' TV show, essentially. They sort of spoke about it, and I quite like the bringing in Jinn and the mythical side, like that side of it was really cool. There were massive issues with it, particularly this overprotective mum who then all of a sudden made her daughter a costume. And I thought that was a bit what? Where did that come from? Who just suddenly was okay with it? But there were bits of it I did really enjoy. I liked it. I thought it was good. It was fun. But I think visually, like we had the conversation when it first started, was like how like the cinematography of it and how they bring in the animation elements of it, because she's an artist. And I thought that was fantastic. It looked great, and it really sort of gave that comic book sort of feel to it.
I think
issues.
I think for me, it's just the fact that it were all that stuff I completely agree with. But for me, I think it was the lack of serious threat at the end. Like it all came down to a punch up in a school car park. When actually it was kind of about beings wanting to eradicate the planet. And like where did that go? Like they were really easily beaten.
Well, it was like I think without the main woman, because she tried to, because it was that whole part where she tried to do it, saw that it was ripping the planet apart and that it would affect her son or whatever, so she sacrificed herself to stop it, and then after she was gone, they all just sort of like fell by the wayside, didn't they? But it was her finding her powers, and it was the son sort of being powerful as well. I
think the other thing is like this phase 4 has been like, there hasn't been a unifying thing. Like the first 3 phases were building up to Thanos, and they were building up to Thanos from almost the start. From the end of Avengers, wasn't it? Like phase 1 was about building the Avengers, and then you had Thanos being like, right, I've got to do it myself because like Ronan hasn't bothered, like none of it's working. So like the gauntlet, go and find the stones. And then phase 2 and 3 was him finding the stones. Like there's this overarching narrative going on in the first 3 phases that was incredible. And now since Endgame, there doesn't seem to be a theme. I mean, the theme is obviously multiverses. But there's no obvious...
There's no massive threat yet.
There's no build. And I don't know what the build is, because they're not ending up with the new Avengers at the end of phase 4.
Which I'm really sad about.
They haven't built a team up. They haven't brought in the Fantastic Four, which I thought was the point of phase 4, was bringing the Fantastic Four. And they're not doing that until phase 5 or 6, I think. And
do you know, I think maybe where this phase might struggle is almost similar to how the DC struggle. because phase 1 started with like 1 or 2 characters doing these films and sort of leading in and then introducing characters, whereas because at the end of phase 3 was okay, the Avengers we know, the ones we've stuck with all these years are going, but we need to replace all of them.
Yeah,
we need lots of characters, so I think they're introducing lots of characters at once, the way DC did, and I think that's possibly where it might struggle, because they can't build up. It has to start like with a hit, which I think they will pull it off because it's Marvel with Disney money. They're going to pull it off, but yeah, I do get what you mean. And She-Hulk I'm looking forward to. I quite like the slapsticky look of that. It
looks fun.
I love Tatiana Maslany. She's great anyway. It's interesting. I'm quite looking forward to the fact they're doing like Secret Invasion. That looks kind of cool. Me and Eric sort of talked about Comic-Con briefly. And I think there's lots coming, and it is quite exciting. Wakanda
Forever looks good.
Haven't watched any of the trailers.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, okay, right.
Initially because I wanted to watch them with Liz. There's like 2 now, isn't there? 2 teasers.
I think, yeah.
There was one at Comic-Con, which was the first one. I think since then they've released another one. Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, I didn't watch them because I didn't want to watch them without Liz, because it's Black Panther. Like, it's really important. But at the same time now, I'm kind of interested. When is it coming out? I don't know if I can hold out that long.
End of the year, November, December, something like that.
I'm trying to think, do I want to try and just not watch anything?
This is the way I've kind of operated for the last couple of years, is trying not to watch trailers of stuff. But like the amount that I was hearing about, especially the Wakanda Forever trailer, I was like, well, I'll just check it out.
I have to.
yeah. And it does look good. What else? Thor Love and Thunder, I like the way that it kind of ended up, but as well, you're like, okay, so basically Thor was sad at the beginning, got himself back into shape, went out and did his Thor thing, got reintroduced to Jane, but then Jane died, so he's sad. But
Spoilers.
He's adopted. And this is
that little kid, yeah.
And then like Love and Thunder actually is him and
Gore's
daughter, yeah, who got brought back from the. But then the other thing is, like, if his name is Gore the God Butcher, why did he need to steal the children? He's literally he's gone through butchering giant beast gods and killing all these gods across the universe. And then he turns into the Pied Piper.
So wasn't it the whole point of him kidnapping the children? So he took them to the Dark Realm?
Yes.
So it was because Stormbreaker could open the portal from the Dark Realm to the whoever the god
Eternity,
Eternity, yeah. So he needed to get Thor to the Shadow Realm. Sorry,
yeah, that's it.
He needed to get Thor to the Shadow Realm because he's more powerful in the Shadow Realm because he controls shadows. So then he could steal Stormbreaker to then open that portal. So he took the kids because he knew Thor would go after the kids.
Yeah, I guess so. It just seemed like, I don't know.
Yeah. When did we start watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Child catcher shit. Yeah.
Natalie Portman, I thought, as Thor was great. As the Mighty Thor. She was cool.
I wonder how much they paid her to come back to do that, because she was like, I'm done with this years ago.
I imagine more than it cost them to CG her muscles.
Yeah.
Which you didn't like. That looked so convincing. Didn't really realize, but by all accounts, that's what they did. I also love how they pulled in the whole Lady Thor thing. So it's Lady Thor, and she's like, "I'm the Mighty Thor." I thought that's a great nod, because everyone go, "Oh, fucking Lady Thor." No, Mighty Thor.
Yeah,
fuck off. And they pulled that in, which I appreciated that.
Yeah. She doesn't seem like a catchphrasey person.
Sorry?
And the whole kind of trying to work out a catchphrase seemed a little bit like, I don't know, like why we do. But again, it's that Taika Waititi thing of doing.
Because in Thor, she was like a serious sort of physicist, scientist, astrophysicist, and like not about jokes and shit like that. And then all of a sudden, she's like, I need a catchphrase. And I thought his relationship with Mjolnir was great as well.
That was quite funny. Again, I thought it was like the first couple of times it was funny, and then again it was just laboured. Like I think that I like Taika Waititi, but I don't know. Like I think it's the perfect character for him, but
it's so out there and weird, and it's magical. Like how do you deal with that? Okay, give it to some like crazy South African guy who does really bizarre, surreal comedy. What We Do in the Shadows, perfect. But I loved the new trick that Mjolnir does, because it's obviously shattered,
breaking into pieces. And
incredible.
Yeah, it was cool.
When she first did that, I was like, that's awesome. Do you know, and it's so difficult because Thor has the potential to be like one of the best characters, like the best films with all this like Norse mythology and stuff. And I think Taika Waititi is doing a great job at appealing to the masses, getting a massive big audience. But at the same time, I think the comedy sort of overshadows a lot of the great stories that could be told.
Like I don't really know how they would use him in an Avengers crossover now, being directed by someone else. Like, because he wasn't goofy Thor. Maybe he was in the Endgame in Infinity War. I can't, like, because Ragnarok came out before that, didn't it? So, but I don't remember him.
Endgame, obviously, he was fat Thor.
Yeah.
So he was a bit goofy, was it? Was Endgame, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had fallen into this depression because he didn't kill.
That's right.
Because he didn't stop the snap. And you had him playing Fortnite with Carl and
Korg. So mate,
Korg turning into the Voldemort face on the back of someone's head, that was a bit weird as well.
That was strange. Yeah. But then that's another thing that I think Marvel are doing that is wrong. Like a character sacrifices themselves for the greater good, but then instantly is alive again. It's like, there has to be some jeopardy somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's been a significant death since Quicksilver.
Black Widow.
All right, yeah, fine. But then she came back. But then she came back for her own movie.
There's a prequel though.
Yeah, I know, but it's weird. But all right.
I was just like, there was one. I
forgot about that one because there was another movie.
Her film came out afterwards.
Because even Vision is like, well, Vision didn't die because he's White Vision now, with all the Vision's thoughts and memories after WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, he's out there in the world, so like he didn't die.
WandaVision's still one of the greatest things they've made in the recent time.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's. Yeah, they've sort of,
and they either kill off their bad
influenced
guys
by Disney, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Don't want to kill people too much.
I wonder whether there would have been more significant hero deaths or like sidekick deaths.
Tony Stark.
Yeah, I knew that there was going to be a flaw in my plan somewhere. I knew there was going to be a flaw.
Was there any significant deaths since Quicksilver?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The one that started it all.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Okay, cool.
Because I was thinking back to the snap. I'm like, the snap, but everyone came back and, no one really died. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He died.
All right, so Black Widow and Tony Stark.
Yeah.
What have the Romans ever done for us?
Yeah, you're welcome, everyone who's screaming at the podcast right now.
Yeah. But no, overall, I enjoyed that. But I don't know, like, what else? We kind of touched on Jurassic World Dominion last time, I think.
Yeah.
I really took against it, and you were all right with it. I think.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Consensus.
It was good fun. It's not Jurassic Park, like, and it's never going to touch that. But I liked it. I had fun. Big dinosaur disaster movie. You know, that's it.
Which was about locusts being genetically engineered by some weird Elon Musk.
Hold up, sorry. They didn't play the song. They didn't. It didn't have the theme in it properly.
Not till the very end. Did they play it during the credits? Maybe they didn't. No,
I don't think so. No, I think there was a little. They had the little sting. They had the little sort of like Miss Marvel, which you missed because it was so insignificant. But I heard it because when she said, they said mutated. He said like her DNA was mutated or something, and it kind of did like which you missed
because I don't really listen to sound cues. It's really weird. No. Like one of the things I've learned through doing this podcast, and we're talking about films, is that I don't listen to the score. Like I listen to the dialogue and I watch the the visuals.
I'm a sucker. I will let the score dictate how much I enjoy the movie. But yeah, Jurassic World may have done like a but that's about it. I don't think even the end credits, they didn't have the proper theme.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Jurassic World Dominion. I kind of, it was cool. There were some really cool elements in it. But
yeah. I'm done with people waving their hands at dinosaurs.
Hey. Was it a good film? I don't think you can say it was a good film. Was it an enjoyable film? Yeah.
I nearly left.
Wow.
Yeah. I was that uninterested in it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't enjoy it at all in any shape. Like the only thing that kept me Jeff Goldblum. Was Jeff Goldblum. Yeah.
Jurassic World. Don't like it.
Not a fan.
Yeah. That was cool. That was funny. Yeah.
The other one, I went to see the Elvis film, the Baz Luhrmann Elvis biopic. To see it. It's still in cinemas and it's very fucking good.
I've heard so many good. We watched the trailer Elvis. We've watched the trailer and we've been like, oh, I didn't know it was coming. And then we saw 2 films at the cinema recently. Both of them had the Elvis trailer. The first one I was like, what? This looks amazing.
And Baz Luhrmann as well.
And Baz Luhrmann, yeah. What?
Yeah.
It's on Sky.
It's out on Sky to buy to rent. Yeah. If you want to do that.
Cheaper than the cinema.
Yeah. And
can't hook it up to my projector though.
No. But I would definitely recommend that because that was the film that they were filming when Tom Hanks got COVID right at the beginning of 2020.
Oh yes. Yeah. But that's great, yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Excellent. Yeah.
I think possibly the more you know about Elvis, the better it is, but it's good enough anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot in there that I was like, oh, cool. They're doing this bit as well. Like it
doesn't paint him in like is it one of those ones where it's like warts and all?
To an extent, I think it could have gone further. But it's a Baz Luhrmann film, so it's big and bright and kinetic. Effectively, the whole film is a montage. I've never seen a film that is so montagey.
Oh, really?
Like it's so.
Is it like jumping here, there, everywhere all the time?
Yeah. Like it's so hyperactive and rock and roll. Like it's rock and roll, isn't it? It's so like on the go the whole time.
But I mean, maybe that's the point. It's supposed to make you feel like you're
that's his life
experiencing the music and the effect it has on you because that's the sort of thing he does. But that's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we might watch that this afternoon then. Sorry, we won't watch it this afternoon. West Ham are on the telly.
Oh, what?
All right.
Sport ball.
I'll find something else to do then.
Have you seen Prey?
No.
The new Predator film.
Cubone Predator. The reason I say Cubone Predator, do you know who Cubone is?
No.
Okay.
I assume... Well, I won't assume anything.
Spelled Cubone. I don't know if you want to look him up.
Let's have a look.
I called him Cubone. I saw the picture. I went, oh, that's Cubone Predator.
Oh, is this? Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
The Pokemon that wears a skull on his face. Head.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point.
I'll tell you what, actually, Pokemon. Oh, cutesy. Like he's wearing a little skull. You read about that skull.
Okay.
Like we're jumping off a Predator for a second, but you read about that skull that Cubone's wearing. If you can find it at some point.
I closed the page, so I'm having to read it. Is it in its wiki or something? Uses its mother's skull after her death. Wow. Okay. A child of a dead Marowhawk that died while defending it from Team Rocket. Okay. So it's wearing its own mother's skull.
Yeah, so I just typed in the Cubone skull and obviously you got the Google questions, like where does Cubone get its skull? And it says, according to Pokemon Yellow, Cubone wears the skull of its dead mother as a helmet and is known as the lonely Pokemon because of its tendency to keep to itself and avoid social situations due to the trauma caused by the death of its mother.
Jesus.
Pokemon
on the night of a full moon, the cries are said to be especially terrible. Cubone seems to recognize its mother in the full moon, and so it howls with a particular sadness. Its cries attract a Mandibuzz, a natural predator. The stains on the skull the Pokemon wears are made by the tears it sheds. Fucking hell. Wow.
Mate, and it evolves fucked up.
It evolves into a Marowhawk once it overcomes the sadness of its mother's death.
I think Marowak, maybe.
Oh, Marowak. Sorry, yeah, I'm thinking of it's a real thing, but Marowak.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pokemon is fucked up. There's some really awful stories in.
Okay. Wow.
Like you obviously Pokemon's made for kids, but you could seriously make like an adult
dark
version of
Pokemon.
You really could with some of those stories. It's messed up.
Yeah, I never really got into, like, I was just on the cusp of feeling too old for like my brother, who is 2 years younger than me, was massively into it, and I feel like there was a crossover. Just like I started watching the cartoon when it first aired, and then I was like, I don't know whether I'm too old for this.
I watched like the first series. I probably watched most of the episodes, but not much after that. I didn't really get into the trading cards at all.
No.
But the games on the Game Boy, I mean, I played one or two of those, but then after that, you kind of like, well, they're all the same game. They're just slightly different Pokemon and slightly different story. So when like a new Pokemon game comes out with different gameplay mechanics and it's a different style, like the 3D ones, I will give those a go because it's different. I've got one of the Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think it's called, on the Switch, and it's very different. But I quite like that. But yeah, I never really massively got into the series. I watched the first film and it was really good, actually. And Detective Pikachu, I like, give that a watch.
I've been tempted by that because of how much I enjoyed the Sonic movie.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's one of those ones because I know you like the Sonic movie and I know you like Paddington. So it's like these hyper real sort of children's stories, but sort of more grown up. Plus Detective Pikachu, man, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Exactly. It's kind of the Deadpool element.
Honestly, it's really good. It's really cool.
I've heard that.
It's really interesting.
At some point I will give it a go.
And I do need to watch both the Sonic films as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet, but the first one was really good.
And the third one's been given a release date, 2024.
Right.
So
yeah,
that'll be coming.
But Prey.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think it's the best one since Predator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, is it really? Okay, because I've heard. So it got an awful score on Rotten Tomatoes, didn't it?
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes don't know fucking nothing.
Actually, I've seen a couple of people post on Facebook that actually they loved it.
Yeah,
and it was really good.
Because I'm not a fan of Predator 2. It's like Predator in the City. And I was like,
is that the one with Giant Predator? Is it Giant Predator, or is that the pit? Or is that
was one of the Alien versus Predator films?
Right.
I think the Predator Alien hybrid.
Right, yeah. So I've seen Predator and I've seen Alien versus Predator, which I quite enjoed.
The first one's pretty good. The second one is not so good.
The second one with the fucked up ending with the baby.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I've not seen that one. But yeah, the first one I really liked. I like the concept of like the aliens were bred as sort of like hunting
training tools. Yeah.
Like, I really liked that idea.
Well, it kind of, to me, like lots of people shit on Alien versus Predator, but I think I've said it before. I think of it as a different franchise to both of those franchises. It's a film that's based on a computer game for me.
Yeah,
and that's the way I kind of, because it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Although at the end of Predator 2, the reason it does make sense is because at the end of Predator 2, Danny Glover gets onto the spaceship of the Predator, and there are trophy skulls mounted on the ship, and one of them is the alien skull, which is where the idea for AVP came from.
Right. Okay.
And also, like, I don't know whether there had been video games at that point. I know there was one on like the SNES or the Mega Drive, so it's possible that around about that time they
had that idea.
Yeah,
and did the tie-in. I mean, that's how I treat Jurassic World and Jurassic Park as well. Like two separate franchises. That's why I can watch Jurassic World and not be angry, because
thing is, I didn't mind the first Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Like I kind of enjoyed that, but the further it got away from, anyway.
Let's not go back to it.
But no, this one, I mean, it's quite an interesting idea. It's like, because we've known that the Predators come to Earth to train their warriors, and so this one is set in like 1759 or something, and it's Native Americans.
Oh, I was not.
So they're master trackers.
So I think there's quite a famous picture from it, but I think the woman with the face mask. I just assumed that was like the Arnie in the jungle disguising. I didn't realize it was set way back.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's Native American. So all they've got is bow and arrow, tomahawks, and spears. And
they're fighting this thing with like technology beyond anything. That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
But it's I really, really enjoyed it, and I think it's certainly, and it's only about 90 minutes long, 100 minutes long. Wow. Like, it doesn't outstay its welcome. Like, it's the first one in the franchise. Not that this means anything to a lot of people, but it will mean something to some. It's the first one in the franchise that's female led. Like, the main person is a woman. She wants to be a warrior and wants to go on the warrior's quest, which is to go out into the woods and hunt something that's hunting her.
Nice.
And the original, so like, and then the Predator appears.
Is it English dialogue, I would imagine?
It is, but I think I've heard somewhere that you can get a dialogue option which is dubbed in one of the Native American languages.
Oh, wow.
So if you want the experience,
okay,
as like the almost like the Apocalypto or Passion of the Christ experience, where it's all in the languages of the people actually portraying those characters.
Yeah, I like that they actually took that into consideration and did that. I mean, obviously it would have been better if it was filmed in that language and then you had an English option, but that sort of thing puts a lot of people off, annoyingly. Yeah, unfortunately it does. And but it's like you say, it's nice that they've even thought about to do that. So it's a massive recommend from me. Oh, cool. That's so definitely Elvis and definitely Prey then. Excuse me, I'm trying to think what else. We went to the cinema twice, but I don't know what the two things we saw. Obviously Thor and Jurassic World. Okay, that was it. That was the two. Fair enough. Spoke about those.
The other thing I really want to watch is Nope as well. The new Jordan Peele.
That looks really good. I've not seen any of the Jordan Peele. No, I have. I've seen them.
Us. Or Get Out and Us.
Do you know what? I've seen Get Out and Us. I don't know why I'm saying I haven't seen any of them. I've seen both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and this
really
is
good,
I think
actually.
this is his third film, so it's like, yeah, you've seen the whole.
Yeah, and you don't have to actually see any of the other, because I was thinking, do you need to watch the other? But no, you don't actually.
No, they're not
Related
at all, as far as I know.
Have I seen?
But Get Out is the one where Daniel Kaluuya has a white girlfriend and they go and visit her family.
I haven't seen Get Out. I've only seen Us.
Right. Okay.
Which is the one with the people living under.
Mirror people. Yeah.
Which is fucking messed
creepy.
up. Messed up, but really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because Jordan Peele is of Key and Peele, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
The comedian, the comedy duo, and he just makes these really, really good horror films,
like horror social commentary films,
psychological.
Yeah,
because like Nope,
and this one, like Nope, has got UFOs and shit.
Yeah, it's like alien abductions.
But will it end up being UFOs, or will it be completely,
And the way he's done the abductions, because you do see it in the trailer, it looks absolutely terrifying. Where they're just dragged out like really quickly. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, you know me, I'm a pussy. I don't like horror films, but like there are some horror films that I do go for, and I've really enjoyed the other two. I've not seen either of them in the cinema. I watched one of them on a plane because I was like, this is the perfect environment because I can just switch off
and I can't escape.
And there's also lots of other noise. It's why I watched A Quiet Place on a plane as well, because I was like, there's loads of background noise.
A Quiet Place is really good.
Damn right.
Did you watch the second one as well?
Oh yeah. I went to the cinema to see the second one.
So good. But again, John Krasinski, like known for his comedy and really serious, but actually incredible writer, director, serious.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the next one that I really want to go and see. But also going to watch Lightyear at some point as well, just to see what the fuck that's all about. Like, I don't care. And it's not a Toy Story movie.
It's not Toy Story, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. That again, I'm reframing it that way. So if I enjoy it, I can say, well, it's not part of Toy Story. So it's supposed to be like, is it supposed to be the film that the character is based on, like, and that's where the toy comes from?
Yeah. So it's one of those. Yeah, it's Buzz Lightyear, the Space Ranger, like actual Buzz Lightyear, the Space Ranger, but in Toy Story, like, it's a TV show, right? But then this is a film, but it's not supposed to be a TV show. Like, he's an actual space ranger. So it's almost like we're watching what Andy would watch in Toy Story. Like, it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not, because it's obviously the Space Ranger himself. It's not the toy. It's not Tim Allen. It's Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Doing a kind of Tim Allen, like, but not quite. But yeah, it's an odd choice. It's intriguing for sure. And we probably will watch it at some point. And it's one of those things like I Am Groot. Might watch it.
Oh yeah, I whizzed through them because there's only 4 and they're only 6 minutes long. So I just did them all in a row the other night just to be like, I mean, it's kind of fun. It's for kids. It's for kids.
Yeah.
It's
So we tried to watch Baymax as well. We watched one of those. That's all right.
Oh, are there shorts of that now?
Yeah. Oh, it's a similar thing like Baymax. It's a series of shorts. We watched one of them and was like, that's all right.
Yeah.
Kind of feel good, kind of funny. But I suppose I Am Groot is probably a similar. It's just like shorts of Groot.
Very much so. Groot takes a bath. Yeah, it's all Baby Groot.
Yeah, Baby Groot. Which
Groot
when he got snapped, he was teenage. No, was he? No, when he snapped, was he teenage Groot when he was snapped, or was he Baby Groot? Me and Eric had this conversation.
Actually, he was teenage Groot when he was snapped. These occur because Disney Plus has everything on a timeline. These occur. One of them occurs before Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2,
right?
And the other ones occur just afterwards,
right? Okay.
Because I think because he's still Baby Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and it's only in the post-credits scenes that you see him as kind of teenage Groot.
Yeah.
Or is it the one occur? No.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. I think they probably it's little things from little adventures they're having while Volume 2 is going on. It's made up. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But they have put them in the timeline order.
Yeah, this is what made
bizarre.
me. Yeah. And this is something that me and Eric, like I discussed with Eric, because I was like, it's been Teenage Group for so fucking long. Like, why is it? Why? And I was like, oh, but and Eric was like, no, he got snapped though. And I was like, oh.
But the other thing that I was shouting at my phone at when I was listening to that episode, was that he's a tree. They grow really slowly.
But he went from baby Groot to Teenage Groot quickly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's fair.
Mate.
It's
again fictional character.
Yeah, it's a fair point, yes. But I suppose they do go from saplings to juvenile trees quite quickly. So I suppose that does make sense.
Yeah, it's comics, it's fantasy, it's
but still,
I know. We all want something based.
It needs to fit in here. But no, that's a good point. But all right.
But it's not a thing.
And obviously there's quite a few new things to watch on Netflix now as well. The Sandman.
I'm almost all the way through it. I would have got through it twice over by now, but Joe wanted to watch it after I'd already seen about 4 episodes.
So you went back.
I was watching it during one of those, because it came out during one of the really hot weeks, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like one of the mega hot weeks that we had. Not that we're in one of them again.
2-3 weeks ago, I thought.
Or was it?
Or was it? I can't remember how long ago it was. I just forgot it was coming out, and then
I remember
people were talking about it at
day.
work, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah.
It was a hot day, and Joe was out sunbathing, and I was like, "Well, I don't really want to go out there, so I'm just going to sit in here and watch this." And so I watched the first 3 in a row.
Wow.
And after a while, she came in, because I've read all the books again twice recently in the lead up to this.
Yeah,
I read that because you can do it, because the final story in Sandman, which was written quite recently, ties up the end into the beginning
of
where he gets captured.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
So you can, it's literally like each volume is numbered 1 to 10. Yeah. And then the final volume has got an ellipses.
Ah.
And you literally can start with that one and you can end with it, because it leads into the beginning volume.
Interesting.
Like the very end bit is him traveling through the dreaming, and then the words of Roderick Burgess and his acolytes come into it. That's cool. And while he's traveling between place A and place B, he's sucked out of the dreaming into the circle.
That makes sense, because time is
yeah exactly.
Yeah, so
it's so genius. I fucking love
I just love Neil Gaiman. We watched 2 episodes. I watched 2 episodes last night, and then we watched episode 3 this morning. Liz watched 1.5 episodes last night and 1.5 this morning, because she fell asleep halfway through episode 2. But yeah, I suppose I watched 1.5 this morning as well, because I kind of watched the end of it with her. But yeah, it's fantastic. Like, it's just so good. And it's like every episode, you're like, oh my god, it's them. Oh my god, it's that person. Oh my god, it's that person.
Yeah.
I loved the way the fates were really cool.
Yeah.
Like, because we were watching it, because obviously I watched it last night and did the wait, what? With the snake, like when it went in one woman's mouth and then another woman. I went, what? And then Liz did it this morning. I was like, oh, wait.
Because they're the 3 in 1.
They're like one thing.
Yeah.
They're like one entity, but with 3.
Yeah. Did you play The Witcher?
Not fully.
Oh, right. Okay. There's a bit where you meet 3 witches in the woods who are one character. Like it's an ancient trope, and obviously Neil Gaiman is the
there's always 3, like Macbeth, it's 3 witches.
Exactly.
And Hocus Pocus, it's 3 witches, like the 3 sisters. It's always, which makes me wonder, Scarlet Witch, Agatha, who's the 3rd? But yeah, it's really cool, and I like the way with Neil Gaiman's stories. I said to Liz this morning how he plays with like mythology and religion and stuff like that, because obviously Good Omens is religion, and this is just full of it.
Yeah,
like
Cain and Abel being the first murderer and the first victim.
Yeah.
But they're not the Cain and Abel from the Bible. They're the idea of Cain and Abel.
Yeah, which is really cool. And obviously you've got Morpheus, who is, and when he was, Lord Morpheus, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's why Morpheus in the Matrix, because he wakes people up from. And I'm like, oh, it makes sense. And it's like, it's all mythology and
it's Greek myth, isn't it? Morpheus was the god of dreams in Greek mythology. And he mixes between all the different ones. I
think like the Wachowskis did as well, because you've got different. I don't know if Persephone. Yeah, she's Greek as well.
She's Greek, but you've got like the ship was the Nebuchadnezzar, which is kind of goes back to biblical.
Yes. Nebuchadnezzar, mythology. Like I say, with this, we've got Cain and Abel, Christianity, but then you've got Morpheus, who is Greek, Corinthian, who is Christianity. This is the Corinthians is the book, isn't it? One of the books. So, it's really, really enjoying it actually. Can't wait to see. And you saying that thing, it's kind of, I guess, almost like spoilerish of what happens at the end of Sandman, but it's a long way to get there.
Yeah. Oh god,
that's a destination.
That will happen. I mean, the thing is, they did it differently. They did it differently in the TV series than they do in the thing, but it's technically the same thing. You kind of see it like he traveled through the dreaming to find the Corinthian, and then was captured. So you kind of see it anyway.
Also, how did they get you to care for a gargoyle so quickly?
I know.
Mate, that scene with Gregory.
You see him briefly in the opening crawl.
Yeah, he's flying about. Yeah.
And then you see him again at the beginning of the second episode, and you're like, oh,
Gregory.
Then,
Gregory.
Oh. Yeah. So
I'm sure Irvin's going to be just as good. Sorry, Goldie. Yeah, I just there was one point actually when obviously also I don't like that they say Constantine.
Right, okay, because you've always said it Constantine
because isn't that Keanu Reeves one? Isn't that Constantine?
Yeah. So did they ask Neil Gaiman?
I imagine they would for the series, but also like the way. So it's with Constantine when she meets up with Rick the Vic. I love how silly this is as well with the names. Yeah. It's fantastic. Like Rick the Vic and obviously Gregory the Gargoyle.
Yeah. Because that's the thing.
That's to begin with G. How about Gerving? But yeah, it was that point where she meets up with Rick the Vic, and this was I love her. How many Kumars are they going to have in this film?
I know. I said to Joe,
3 so far.
And we've got
is it
half the
just
cast
the 3,
of the
isn't
Kumars. Yeah, so far. Yeah. I don't think the other
one of the fates. Then you got, is it Cain, and obviously Rick, was it
and Rick the Vic?
Yeah, and Rick the Vic. Yeah, but British
yeah. There's only like 2 more cast members left, I think.
Yeah, but yeah. I think Jenna Coleman, obviously, fantastic. Come a long way since Emmerdale.
Yeah, and I suppose the reason that they've done the gender swap on her is because they don't have the rights to use John Constantine.
No, and but then Joanna was in the comics as well.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of people, some people are getting all butthurt that they're doing gender and race swaps on certain people, and it's I don't care. Like the character's the character, and I think especially Death, because I was like, but they really should have cast fucking Susie Sue, because that's who. And you're like, you can't get Susie Sue from the 80s back. But
that's who Neil Gaiman had in mind, wasn't it?
It's obvious.
But yeah, it's.
And the other one, that Desire, looks like the drawing on the front cover of Rio by Duran Duran.
Oh yeah.
Desire looks exactly like that in the comic, but isn't like that in the thing, because why? You can't get these people to look exactly like their counterparts, and why not?
So it's
fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah. Was the race swap thing because of like Cain and Abel, which that's just ridiculous because they're dreams. They can look
exactly,
however...
yeah. And Lucian as well. Lucian is a male in the comics and white. It's just, but it's stupid because it's all fantasy. They're all fictional characters and they've been made as dreams. You know?
One of the other things as well, where I watched the second episode last night and then Liz finished watching it this morning. I went out to make a cup of tea and breakfast while she was watching it, and it was a scene just as what's her name, Ethel was going into the hospital. Is it Ethel?
Right, yeah.
When she was going into the hospital, and I was waiting, and then I heard, Lupin. I was like, yep. I was waiting for that. That's
what I got on this end as well.
Yeah.
but
yeah, him leaving the hospital. Wow.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear what you think about the next episode.
It's graphic, this, isn't it? It's
grim. And that's the thing. Like, it really, because the books split between really dark and quite light comedy, and like dark, horrible nastiness.
Yeah, when Morpheus sort of wakes Constantine up in Rachel's apartment and they go into her bedroom, fucking hell, that was quite dark.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's almost like Seven, isn't it? You know, is it Sloth, the person who's just tied to the bed and is emaciated. Yeah.
Like this, horrific.
Yeah. I will be interested to hear what you think of the next episode. And also, I think the standout for me so far has been episode 6. Episode 6 captured 2 of my very favorite stories into one episode, and I didn't realize they were doing the second one.
Oh, okay, cool.
And again, it's like crying, actual tears of sadness.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know whether that's because I'm so invested in the comic.
Well, because the characters you love, it's a book you love, and they did it justice, which is so good. It's really odd because there's this woman at work who sort of watches a lot of stuff like this, and then Eric was talking to her about it. So nothing details because I haven't watched it.
I'm not gonna.
No. So I was saying this at work. I was like, shut up, because I will be watching it. Shut up. I just kept saying it, and they're like, no, it's fine. Because she was like, oh yeah, I sort of lost interest around episode 5 and 6. Like, it kind of got shit. And then Eric was like, I thought episode 5 was one of the best. Like,
that's a ludicrous take. That is utterly ridiculous. I suppose what it is, the first 3 or 4 episodes of him trying to get his stuff back.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like goes off into different aspects of his
power, essentially, or what he does. Yeah, but
also like introducing the characters that are going to take the story on. Yeah, in the waking world,
I sort of I kind of get what you're hinting at with it. Like, it's sort of like this introduces him and then sets up why he's the way he is later on. Yeah, sort of thing.
It's an odd beginning because your main character doesn't say anything for like the majority of the first episode, and he's a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, so good. I love that though.
Yeah, because he's not like he's above. He's not a human being. Like, he doesn't react in the way humans do.
Yeah, it's kind of like, aren't you sad about this woman being left here? And why would I?
Why would I be? She's completely inconsequential to me.
Billions of you.
But equally, he's been treated like shit by the first few humans for 80 years.
Yeah, so why would we care about the people in the waking world? They don't give a shit about us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they treated me like I was a monster. But yeah,
there's a point where his character shifts a little bit, and think
he starts to care.
From there,
I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what it's this journey of this character, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I suppose
it's the hero's journey.
But I suppose that's probably, like you said, that's possibly why she didn't like it, because it's almost became a different sort of narrative, like a different genre maybe type thing.
Yeah.
Not genre necessarily, because it's going to be fantasy and stuff, but it's
But what they're doing with the Corinthian,
gears.
I think the reason that they're using the Corinthian much more than they did in the comics is to really give that sense of the thread.
Yeah,
like he is the threat.
He's a consistent antagonist type thing. Yeah,
and he's so good. That actor is so good at playing him.
Yeah, there's another one. Did you watch? Was it called Arcane? The League of Legends?
No, I didn't. Was that the cartoon?
Yeah,
the animation.
Yeah,
I meant to get round to it.
It's one of those ones where it's like, yes, it is cartoon, it is animation.
Yeah.
But being that I'm kind of into animation, like have been like 3D animation and computer and stuff like that. It's so much more.
I checked out the trailer and I really I was like, oh, I think I added it to my watch list, but I just never got round to it. But it's something that I mean to. It's
so good, and just visually, it is stunning the way they make it. And again, this woman at work, she's kind of said the same thing about Arcane. She said, I really liked it to start with, but it kind of fell off for me. So I think, it's just one of those. I think it just hits people differently. Like, it depends what you like, doesn't it? But so far, the Sandman, it's just really good.
Yeah. And really, I mean, like, I'm getting excited over things that are happening in the background, and like there are little nods to characters and stuff that I'm like, oh, and then Joe's like, what are you getting excited about? And she's like, it's kind of spoiling it for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm possibly too invested in it.
Loving Matthew. Matthew.
Oh. I wondered how they were going to make a talking, wisecracking raven work.
It looks great.
But
it's so good.
It just does.
Yeah, because at the end of episode 3 is when they go to hell, and he's like, and you're not listening to me, fuck it, let's go to hell. Okay. I
couldn't remember what happened in episode 3, but I remember now. I couldn't remember whether it was the hell episode or not.
No, it's when they're leaving to go to hell. It's really cool. He goes, episode 3 is essentially him getting his sand back. Sorry, I don't know if that came through. Him getting his sand back, and John leaving hospital / prison.
That's right.
Yeah.
So episode 4 might not be the one I'm thinking of then. In that case, I'll be interested to. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm interested to hear what you think of all of them. But 4 is not the one I was thinking of. 4 is the hell centered one, and then there's more John. Episode 5 is John.
Yeah.
And his Ruby. And then episode 6 is my favorite episode so far.
So I think I saw online that Constantine isn't in it a lot. Is that it? Episode 3 is pretty much her, I guess. This isn't a Constantine show.
Yeah, no, she kind of. Yes and no. I'll put it that way.
Okay. We'll leave it. That's fine.
Well, he mentions, doesn't he? Oh, I knew a Constantine.
Yeah. I mean, so okay, right, fine. In the series, at some point, a Constantine comes back. Maybe not Joanna, or we'll see. I'll see.
Possibly, yeah,
or possibly,
Joanna.
Yeah. Is it the same Joanna?
We're dealing with magic. Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, cool. No worries. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about, and we'll just have to have those conversations privately.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the thing, like,
when they're fresh in our mind.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to save it for 2 weeks and then forget half the fucking details, which is really annoying to listen to.
And then release a spoiler cast where we're sort of going, oh no, but actually, oh yeah, remember, oh yeah, then there's that.
Yeah. And that, that doesn't preclude us from appearing on other people's podcasts. We still want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, like, the fact is we love talking about this stuff, and it's a shame that we have to wait 2 weeks to talk about it, because we don't want to ruin the podcast for ourselves, like the podcast conversation.
We don't want to have the conversation and then have to fabricate the conversation again. Yeah. Because we recorded an episode like that once. And it
wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the things.
I mean, I guess we're both still going to be on Twitter. The ABH Pod Twitter may as well stay there. It's not doing anything.
Exactly.
So you can still talk to us and get in touch with us and stuff. And like I said, with the patrons, I mean, we're going to record a Patreon episode for our patrons anyway. And we'll look into how we're going to deal with that. But yeah.
But no, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure doing this.
Oh, massive.
And the people that we've met through doing this over the last 9.5 years, like there are genuine friends in there.
Yeah.
Some have come and some have gone.
Yeah.
And that's the way of things in life, isn't it?
But I think they've all been, but I mean, let's go back to that. Why did we start doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what was your reasons? Mine obviously was, I mean, we both just like podcasts and wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine was to get a bit more confident in my speaking, public speaking and stuff like that. Just to better myself. Yeah. And I think through talking to you and having the serious conversations we've had, we've discovered a lot about ourselves and managed to improve ourselves massively. We're both doing jobs we love now. We both succeed. I mean, I suppose yours isn't a job. Yours is just, it's work, it's career. You're doing what you want.
Yeah.
Mine is something I've wanted to do since I left school. I'm finally doing it now and I'm doing really well at it. And I think it would be difficult to say that it would have happened without this podcast. Massively. I think this podcast has helped a lot.
Yeah, I think like we've covered a lot of ground over the last 9.5 years. We're so different from the people that started out on this road. There was a point where I know I was having a crisis of faith. Not a crisis of faith, but like a crisis of like, what the fuck am I going to do with the rest of my life? Like, why haven't I succeeded in the way that I imagined that I would have? Or like, why am I still doing these fucking jobs with these absolute pricks?
Yeah.
And put the call out there and people were like, well, I'm doing this. This was my journey. Yeah. Some people were like, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And not long after that, I kind of got into the whole journalism thing. Like literally months later, it was really weird. And things started to pick back up. And then, that went not stale, but things happened within that particular area of my life that weren't fun. And then weirdly COVID came along at the exact right time, really, for me. And being put on furlough, which not everyone was lucky or unlucky enough. It depends on your own circumstances, doesn't it? For me it was a lucky thing to be put on furlough. It got me off the treadmill for a few months and caused me to reevaluate what I was doing with my life. And
it sort of allowed you, it freed up time because you weren't allowed to work. You weren't allowed to do paid work the whole time you were on furlough, were you? So it allowed you free time to go and research and plan and have a plan of action, which you put into action once you got that call and sort of hit the ground run. I know like it wasn't like instant, like, and there was a period of sort of like building up that customer base, but I think it happened pretty quickly.
I was,
in sort of relative terms, it happened pretty quickly for you.
Yeah. And the people that I've got to thank for that is obviously, like, especially in the podcast area, is Adam. Who got me in touch with with the company that I do podcasts for. And that's another thing as well. Like, podcasting has kind of become my job. And so
doing it for fun isn't anymore.
And it was the same with writing, wasn't it? I used to blog all the time. I used to write stuff all the time. And as soon as I got paid for doing that, I stopped doing the blogging because it was like, oh, I do this all day. And regardless of whether it's about things that I enjoy, it's kind of work. But like that I shouldn't be complaining because it's amazing that
but I think the difference is now you're not only writing, like you're writing, but you're also doing interview podcasting.
It's really nice
podcasts and like it's just variety because you at the company you were with journalism, like doing your journalism. I was going to say journalism, writing. That's kind of what you were doing. Like you were writing. That's what you did. You were a writer. They didn't sort of allow you to go and do other stuff.
Despite
even
the
though
fact
part
that
of
they
the
brought me
interview
in.
was part of them hiring you was to do other stuff as well.
Yeah, but they couldn't figure out a way of monetizing podcasts, so they just let that opportunity slip by. And it's like, but I know how, like, you just stick adverts on there and you've got an advertising team.
Yeah.
So get people to sponsor it.
Get people to sell adverts on the podcast, like 30-second clips.
So bizarre, but they were so backwards facing.
Either way.
Anyway. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have, you know, a mixture of things that I do, which is, you know, the writing. I still get to do interviews with people for things that I'm being paid with, but it also, like, the fact that I do interviews with band biographies, I think they both helped with each other. Like the band biographies thing is a lot more kind of, I'm talking about things I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
But I've also been able to kind of incorporate a kind of professionalism into that, where like I'm building a structure to the interview rather than just kind of not having a clue of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And also that feeds back into the work that I do, because I'm not part of a group anymore. I'm myself doing this stuff. I have to be a bit more engaging, I think, where I didn't have to be before. It was all business before, but now with the people that I interview for the articles that I write, I can be a little bit more myself.
I think like when you were working for that group, you were representing them, so you had to put across a specific personality. And like you say, it was business, so you had specific points you had to hit. Whereas I suppose doing it as yourself, you can be a bit more free flowing about it and going, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's ask about that a bit more. Yeah. You haven't got a specific talking point. I mean, there will be specific talking points because there's a reason you're interviewing them, but you can also find out about the person.
Yeah. And quite often, like, something else will come up when I'm talking to them a little bit more openly, and as myself, where they're like, oh, and also we're kind of working on this, but it's not for that. But I'm like, oh, right, well, that's interesting. Maybe I'll come back to you on that for something else, you know. It's that context wasn't necessarily, because you like, I write for one magazine. Yeah. Whereas now I can write for anyone I want. Yeah. And so any extra ideas that come up.
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't fit with this publication that I'm writing for now, but actually I write for this publication. So what I'll do is I'll approach them and see if they want an article about this.
Exactly.
And I'll talk to
which I couldn't do before and wasn't really
you can approach someone, because when you're writing for a publication and only them, you don't have there's like a non-compete, isn't there? You're not allowed to go and shop yourself about. Whereas as a freelancer, hey, I've got this article idea. Are you interested? Yeah. Like, I already have their details as well. So
it's a lot more
quite quickly.
There are infuriating. There are infuriating bits of it as well, because I don't have an organization backing me. So like trying to tie people down to get interviews can be a bit frustrating sometimes, because you're like, I'm just me. I say I'm representing this magazine or I'm doing an article for this magazine, but they don't necessarily have any proof that that's the case. And there's no impetus necessarily for them to talk to me.
So if they let you down, they're letting you down and not that magazine. So that magazine they've not given themselves a bad name for that magazine. It's just you, and you're just a single writer.
However, I do feed back.
Oh yeah.
But and then yours as well. Like, you've gone from working essentially on a car production line to becoming a carer. Yeah, like like in a psychiatric hospital, and now doing the IT end of things, which was always the thing that you were more interested in anyway, and like progressing as well.
And it's allowing me to sort of at the minute it's kind of support, so I'm sort of hands in all baskets. There's only certain things I can do, but it sort of opened me up to people that do stuff that might interest me, and I can look into that a bit further, and I can approach them and talk to them and ask for advice. You know, and it's really cool. So I work on support. So the good thing about the company is it's like, if there's nothing to do, There's always something to do, but if there's no issues that you can investigate or you can't make any progress, do other stuff as long as it benefits the team, as long as it benefits the company. So I've started. There's certain processes we do that I think, there's probably a better way we could do that, or we could probably automate that with software. So I started looking at writing a program, and there's a guy who's just finished doing the degree that I'm doing. Although I think he's gone for computer science speciality, whereas I'm just like IT software speciality. So I told him about it, and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then he sort of said, "I'll try this, see if this works." And like he wrote a bit of code and passed it to me. I was like, "Oh yeah," and I can build others. So I'm sort of building up this sort of like software application that probably won't get used, but it's good practice and it's something I can show. But because it could benefit the company, I can do that in work time. I can practice my programming in work time. It's great. I'm a lot happier where I am. It's just one of those things. And like I say, I'm doing well in it. I'm getting recognition for certain things. And people approach me when they probably shouldn't. They should be approaching my seniors, but they come straight to me. Which feels nice. But at the same time, like one of my seniors has a go at me for it. She's like, "I know you want to help them, but you've got stuff to be doing. And if you're trying to do that as well, it's going to stress you out. Like, you're just a nice guy. Just tell them no." Because people will message me directly, "Hey, can you help with this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I can." But even my team leader sending me stuff, "Hey, can you check this? Looks all right." I'm like, "You probably ask the seniors. Why are you asking me?"
Well, that's good that you're being recognized as that person, though. Like, I know that, it's not the chain of command, but still, like I've always, when I was in the bank, I always tried to be like a jack of all trades and be able to figure out all the processes that were being done so that I could jump between teams and become indispensable. And it feels good to be that person. Like, I get that.
And that's what I did, because I put in all that effort. When we lost like quite a few members of our team, they sort of left, and there was only like three of us, and one of those was on his way out the door. I made note, and it was quite stressful. So I was starting to look around for other jobs. And when I had my one-to-ones with my team leader, I made no secret of the fact that I was looking around. How might we keep you? I was like, well, I'm doing a lot of work, and pay rise might help. And then I think within it was in the space of like 4 months, I think like everyone got a annual pay rise, pay review, but then I think I had 2 additional pay reviews and got a rise. And but because, like you say, you make yourself indispensable, like I am looking to leave, and they're like, "Oh fuck," and people will probably snap him up, so let's give him more money.
That's it, isn't it? And if the company doesn't value you and aren't giving you what you want, then fuck them. But if they do value you, which they clearly do, then you reap the benefit,
and you become loyal to them. So you reap the benefits, but then they also get the benefit of you giving a shit.
Yes,
which is very rare.
It is. I can tell you that.
But it's good. Like, it's a good company to work for. When I first started, our friend actually Ozzy worked with them.
Oh right,
it was one of his first jobs was with them. A different product, but same company. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I started with them. They're a fantastic place to get your start." Like, so he has good memories of them. Like, he had good things to say about them. So we'll see where it goes from here. But
but also the degree as well. Like, that's helping you.
It will do for sure.
Kind of down the line, possibly with maybe your own thing eventually, possibly.
Yeah. Just call me Elon. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Not
I'm
anymore.
not going to become that. I'm not going to become that.
Maybe early Elon, like the good old days before he became like this pot smoking megalomaniac.
Mate, if I become Elon and create something like PayPal and then sell it for God knows however much he did, that's me done. I'm not working anymore. Like, I've got no aspirations to keep working. Like, I want to make enough money that I don't have to anymore.
Yeah. Joe and I are having that exact. We're having that exact kind of conversation at the moment, because we figured out we've only got 6 years left on the mortgage. So, like,
very envious.
Yeah.
It's like we had our first like remortgage interview this week. And although we've built more equity and we paid off more of the house and the value's gone up because house values have gone up, So we've got more equity in the house. Our mortgage payments are going up by like £100 to £150 a month. Like,
ouch.
Because of interest rate. Our interest rate will be like over 1% higher.
Right.
On our new products. So. Little envious.
Bad times.
Yeah.
But yeah. So as soon as that date comes around, I mean, I'll continue working for a bit, but I just won't be. You won't be under the pressure. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel at the moment I'm heading into pressure territory again. But at least I'm kind of in control of it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, being self-employed, I'm kind of in control of it, but at the same time you're like, there could be a drought, you don't know. It's a tough one.
So that's the thing. Self-employed, it's like, it's great, it offers you the flexibility, but there is always that risk. And with the house prices, like, oh god, 100 to 150, it's like, it's something we can afford, but I'd rather not have to. You know what I mean? I'd rather have that and be able to save, so I can retire at some point in the future.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
But it's just cost of living. That's all right. We'll go for a crash and everything. Eventually it'll level out and we'll be able to.
It's all cyclical. It's all cyclical. Yeah. As is this conversation, I guess.
The one that we keep trying to end and then remembering other stuff.
Yeah, that's it. As
it's always been the way. 9.5 years we've not been able to end a podcast.
Never. And
but we are this time.
Never say never.
No, of course.
It could well be that, we come back to this sporadically throughout time if something important enough comes up, or, the band breaks up again.
And like you said, if we move it all over to Anchor, it's a free platform. So we're not paying for it. It's going to be there. We'll be able to record something and put it out. So keep us on your feeds just in case.
Yeah.
You never know.
Don't unsubscribe.
You never know. You never know.
But for now, just shy of our 10-year anniversary,
because it seems fitting.
This is for now the final episode of the Anywhere But Here podcast. It's the end of an era. I've really enjoyed doing this with you.
You too, mate. Thank you for sort of. I think, to be fair, I think you were the first one that broached the idea of doing this, and I was like, oh, I've been thinking of that as well. So thank you for raising that idea and doing this.
Thank you for knowing how to do it, because without you knowing the back end of everything, like, there's no way I'd have been able to set this up on my own.
I'm very familiar with the back end, so just got a weird look. But thank you, mate. I have really enjoyed it. But I'll see you Wednesday anyway. So
yeah, exactly. I'll see you in a couple of days. Yeah,
it's not goodbye. See you Wednesday.
And we'll be having that. Like I say, the exciting thing for me is that we'll be having these conversations in real time.
Yes,
as and when we actually want to have them.
For sure. For sure. But like we say, we'll always be on Twitter, and most of you listening have got our phone numbers anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. We're always happy. Probably see some of you fairly soon as well. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But we're always about for a chat.
Yeah.
As we always have been throughout the last 9.5 years. We just won't be putting these out anymore.
Yeah.
Except
thanks.
Exceptional circumstances.
So thanks for all your support, and for listening to us waffle on and get loads of shit wrong over the last 9.5 years, and then laugh about it. For correcting us and putting us right on a few things as well. Yeah, we love you. We've needed that. Yeah, love you guys. Love you, Ant. Love you too, mate. So until next time we're on a podcast, I've been Tom. I've been Ant. This has been the Anywhere But Here podcast, signing off. Bye. Bye.